It's now time for Monster Soup with your really fun at parties host, Dave Spencer, and his level-headed co-host, Brian McKinney. These dudes will explore all the crazy mysteries roaming our forest and deserted hallways. After all, monsters are real. It's Monster Soup time right now. Get it while it's hot. And now your hosts, Dave and Brian.
Hello! Welcome to Monster Soup. We are a kitchen of conversation with misfits, cryptids, and these kids. I'm your golden retriever host, David Spencer, and with me, as always, is my co-host, who's known in the streets as Bingo Buster, but we call him Brian McKinney in the studio. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. So today we have a very special guest. We met them at Monster Fest, or not Monster Fest. We met them at,
Ohio Bigfoot Conference. Ohio Bigfoot Conference.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Dana and Tim Halloran. I'm going to end this. There you go. Hello, Dana.
Hey.
Welcome.
Wow, it's so nice to see you guys again. And you know what I love so much is it like we just like popped on. You know what I'm saying? There was like no like you guys are getting like the full on first time that we're seeing and talking to each other since Ohio.
No prep. It's awesome. We love it.
I love it. It's just like a raw conversation.
And I have to say, because we've interviewed a bunch of people, but this is it's so nice not having to do with the prep. I mean, of course we prep, but yeah, we just so much less stress. I love it. Thank you guys. Thanks for having us. It's such an honor to be here.
No problem.
Hanging out with the Untold Network crew, Doug and Alex and Blaine,
Doing a little synergy going on over here.
Yeah. So if other people aren't aware, they probably are, because I'm sure your show is much bigger than ours. But you guys are the Bigfoot Influencers podcast. So I just kind of we met you guys at the Bigfoot conference, and I think me, Brian, and Dana were like off in a thing because we were getting away from the rain. We kind of had our own little like party lounge that was just like kind of set up. And you guys were like, we absolutely did take over, and it was such a vibe, and we just like had a good time the whole time.
It was cool.
It was so much fun. And obviously, actually the first interaction I had with you is I was wearing a fanny pack, and it had a cat that was riding a unicorn, and it had like rainbows in the background. And you're like, you should have you were like, hey, is that a fanny pack? I was like, yeah. And you go, it should have a Bigfoot on there. I was like, you think this needs more stuff on it?
So
I think that was our first real interaction.
So David and Brian, was that your first time at Ohio Bigfoot Conference?
No, this past year, 24 was our third year.
Oh, cool.
So
yeah, because if I remember well, the story is that you guys started going to it as like a guys group thing.
Well, yeah, for years. Go ahead then.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it started with like, Brian's always been into this stuff. Like he's always been kind of like, being like, dude, Bigfoot. And then I one day like watched something, and it was just like, oh, dude, like I think I'm down with this idea. Like, and then just like the idea of Bigfoot, like I always just kind of knew it as this like kind of thing that existed, but like I was more of I don't even know what kind of thing I was in. I just like Mothman and like things like that, but I really didn't like focus in. And then I watched something about Bigfoot and was like, oh, this is like pretty cool. There's some meat on the bone here. This is fun. And then we found out about the Bigfoot conference, and we're like, you want us to make a guys trip out of this? Like, we'll just go down. Worst case scenario, it sucks and it's nothing. And then we just drink and have fun. And then we ended up just meeting really cool people, telling really cool stories. And we were just, I'm me. So I was excited to hear the stories. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, just like a little candy store kid, and just being like, give me your story. And everybody was like, probably the nice. I always say that like, it's fun to be in those spaces because everybody gives you permission to like be weird and tell your story. No one's like, well, do you think it was a bear? It's like that conversation's not happening. They're just like, no way. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and usually like everybody has like 5 more stories like around you. So it's just exciting to get everybody like the electricity that's there, or at least the perceived electricity from me, because I'm just like, no way. What are you talking about?
It's really funny fun that you mentioned that, David, because you're reminding me of a story. I think it was probably our second time at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. And we always rent a cabin there on the state park there. And you know, it was kind of middle of the day. I'm just kind of like cooking or washing dishes or whatever in our cabin. And Tim says, "Hey, I'm going to go do something real quick outside." Are you laughing because you're remembering
I remember,
this? So, you know, time's going on and I'm getting everything done. I'm like, what, you know, I don't know, 40 minutes is gone. And I'm like, where is my man? Like, where is he? Where is he? So I start looking around and calling for him and really start getting frantic, you know, just like, did he fall and crack his head on something? Like,
did a Bigfoot grab him?
Where did he go? No, not a thought. And then I'm walking over to the other cabin and I'm kind of looking in the windows and around. I see Tim in the other cabin. It was like next door. There were some other people.
Yeah, we were just
having
a good time. We were just over
and I was like, bang, bang, bang on the window. You know, and people were like, you better get out there.
Yeah.
They probably got like a really bad first impression of me. Like, dang, Tim's wife is like.
Luckily, most of them knew us. Most of the folks in there were close to us. So
but this one lady, she was like, you thought you were scared that he might have fallen down and cut his head? I would have been afraid that he walked into a portal and you know, was lost forever in another dimension. And I'm like, yep. Welcome to the Ohio Bigfoot Conference.
Well,
yeah, that's always my favorite. It's just like a swath of people. Like,
it's so cool. Yeah, because we first got there, and when she brought me, and I don't want to say I was excited about going, but I was like, yeah, whatever.
He was doing it for me.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm thinking, am I going to be around all these weird people? And then you fast forward and like, maybe we're the weird ones, you know?
No, all my friends think I'm weird.
Right.
Like they think I'm weird. But I'm like, no. You don't know how deep this weird can go.
Real deep, yeah. And like with us, the first few years, we kept talking about going, but we could never get tickets. And we didn't realize you could just kind of go and hang out and stuff. So the very first year we had no tickets. We stayed like in Cambridge at the hotel. And that's when we were like, if this thing stinks and you know, it's just a guy's weekend and we'll just go home and we'll make the best of it. We have fun everywhere we go. So the second year, then it was like, we're definitely getting tickets. We're going to stay at the lodge. And then we've been doing that ever since. But we just got down there and the people were the coolest and we had so much fun and just everybody's crazy stories. And you get from like people like us, because we don't have any real experiences. We're just into this kind of stuff. And then you meet these people that have these crazy experiences and it, like Dave said, you know, they feel like it's a spot where you could sit there and talk about it and people don't look at you like you're, you know, totally off the wall. But yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah, definitely a safe space, which is nice.
Yeah, well, even by year 3, it became more chummy than it was like telling stories, which was a lot of fun. Like it was just like, oh, hey, you're back. You know, like it was a lot of that. Just like
yes,
be like your friends again.
It's a tight community that's like, you know, people from all walks of life, all, you know, political affiliations, all religious affiliations, you know, and it's, you know, everybody just has that one interest of Bigfoot. And so it's kind of a beautiful thing that it brings everybody together.
Yeah.
So what was your first, like, or what kind of got you into all this stuff? I guess you're saying that it was, you know, Tim, it was your wife, and you know, Dana being like, oh, you should come to this thing, you know, whatever. But you know, Dana, like, what got you into it? Like, where's
well,
your
I mean, I think for a lot of us kids who, you know, were born in the 70s and, you know, Bigfoot was like a bigger deal back
70s.
then.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, well, you were born in 71. Shut up. You old, honey. You were OG.
Yeah, the gray hair proves it.
Gee.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead.
So anyway, yeah. So we just always had Bigfoot here and there, Bigfoot here. And so, you know, when you got that library day at school and you just wanted to go and get that, you know, Bigfoot book, that Loch Ness Monster book, and just read about it and what are these amazing things that could exist here that nobody's discovered yet, you know? And so I think we all kind of grew up like that, even maybe you guys from your different generation. But
I'm the same generation as you.
Oh,
guys.
you are? Okay.
Dave's a little younger. Yeah.
Take the compliment, Brian. Take it.
I don't like to ever assume. So yeah, and so then just growing up, and then it actually rekindled when our youngest, who's now 21, we started watching Finding Bigfoot together. Gabriel and I just watching, and just one day we're going to go on an expedition, the whole thing. He got a little older, and he started becoming more skeptical. He's
a teenager at that point, not anymore, but he was.
And then I was like, Tim, I just want to go to a Bigfoot conference. And so that's how it started with him, I think, because once you go and you just start hearing people talk about it and their experiences, and you just know people aren't lying. Do you know?
Yeah.
They don't. People who don't want to come on your podcast because they're afraid to look like a Looney Tune. So, I think it just reinforces everything.
Yeah, I even have to when I tell people about the podcast to go well, we talk about cryptids, but it's fun. Be like it could be real, it could not be real, but it's exciting and fun, and this world is filled with mundane things. Why not put a little mystery into it?
Exactly.
But the funny thing with Gabriel, who we just said his name on air, he'll be all right.
Oh my God, he'll be all right.
He's and it came full circle 2 years ago when he actually came out to the conference with us, and so he got to hang out and just have.
He got to hang out with Cliff and
make breakfast for
Renee. Was right next door to us in the other cabin, so we were kind of like her,
and that was the year didn't you MC it that year, Tim? Is that the year?
That was the year that you MC'd. Yeah,
which is crazy. Yeah, so busy.
Yeah, it was. And so Gabriel got to make breakfast for Renee, and so it was just kind of cool, And awesome. So then we just going to conference after conference and just listening to all these amazing speakers and all these researchers that are doing all this amazing stuff. Tim came up with this idea with his book to interview these people and what they're doing and put it all in one book. And that's how the Bigfoot influencers came about. And so it's basically us with being fascinated, just like you guys are with the subject. We don't have anything much more to offer maybe to the subject, but just our fascination. But at least maybe we could introduce everybody else to the people who are doing stuff. So we're not the influencers. They're the influencers.
So actually, that in mind, do you have your favorite story that you kind of tell other people this one? Do you have a top 3 or whatever?
You mean from the book or from the just all the folks we've interviewed?
I mean, I assume that
you want both of us to answer differently.
Oh, I mean, if you both have different answers, but
oh yeah, I'm sure we do.
I'm sure we do.
Yeah.
And don't you dare pick the one I have in my head.
Then I'm gonna let you go first.
Because if I hear you start, I will smack you.
Guess what? You get to go first. Go ahead.
Okay, so one of my favorite moments in interviewing people on the podcast has definitely had to been the question, one of the last questions that we got to ask Dr. Jeff Meldrum was what does he think of the idea? Why are humans so much more intelligent than any other species? Okay, fine, dolphins are smart, but they're not building nuclear reactors, okay?
Right.
They're not writing books. Maybe they are smarter though, in that they're just being dolphins, right? But that's a whole different subject. Exactly. That's a whole different. But I mean, what makes us so smart? And he was literally, I mean, this is a professor of anatomy and anthropology. He believes that it's either otherworldly intervention, whether it's UFOs or something divine. But I thought that was the coolest answer ever. I was just sitting around like this for an hour. Just
did he just say that?
That was so cool.
The Mr. Science guy, right?
Yeah. I loved it. I love it. Yeah. I mean, science is important. We need science, but it's nice to see that scientists can get a little, and believe in something bigger than us for a second. So it was pretty cool.
You're not confined to just the science. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you should be confined to a lot of the science, but yes,
Definitely.
there's some stuff that we don't understand that we're not going to be able to explain.
Well, I think when you're going for like the final answer, I mean, not the final answer, but like the, like, you know, what's the unknown part of it, you can kind of, that's my favorite part is, you know, it's like finding out the magic trick. You're like, oh, that's how you did it. Like the fun part of all this is being like, you know, like what's, you know, what happens after they disappear, which is a question I like to ask, like everybody, you know, like, hey, like if they ducked and went away and are gone, where do you think they went? And everybody has a different answer. They're all like, you know, like, you know, it's like teleport. One person was like, they walk on their fingers and toes. And like, one person's like, they dig underground. And like every single person has like this different little way to like think about it. And that's where like the fun happens, because like they can just let their mind wander and like think about like what makes sense to them in that moment. And you can usually get a read on like where their like practicalities like give way. And that's usually where it goes. It's like, you know, somebody who thinks like digs underground, I think is thinking more practically with like, you know, it's a big beast. Of course, they could just dig really quickly. You know, a portal person would like has like a whole nother pantheon of things that they think. So it's like, oh, you're a dimensional guy. Got it. You know, so I just think that's very, very cool.
Oh yeah, because there's, you know,
there's a lot in between too.
There's a lot of, I mean, and I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, like we were just saying before, I'm sorry, Rolo keeps on jumping on us.
He's our cat, one of them,
and he's distracting. But he's like 400 pounds, so I have no choice. He's like a chunker.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's just suffocating us. You can't see it though. Maybe
slow down.
No, that's good. Don't. Oh, that's good. No, his tail will fly.
He's right here. You see this?
Oh, there he is. My favorite thing about this like new way of like working is I work from home, but is like the constant just like special guest cats that just like come into every single meeting. Just lots of cat buttholes in every meeting.
Well, and we made a decision. We normally have our little quote unquote studio here, and we usually kick them all out. And he came in earlier, and he was just chilling. So we were like, we'll leave him in here, and not knowing that he's probably going to do this.
Well, now he's like, they're at my mercy. They can't kick me. They can't push me away. Everybody's going to think they're a cat hater.
Oh, yeah. I guess I got to be nice to him.
He's like,
now,
I can totally just like bite off their toe and still couldn't do anything.
Yeah, they're on a podcast.
All right,
so, my story, I guess there's so many, because I've talked to so many, and both of us, but then there's so many fascinating. There's two ways to look. I mean, there's some just fascinating things that happen and funny stories, and you hear about the history. You talking to some of the old timers. I got to interview Peter Byrne before he passed for the first book, which was great. But I guess from a story, it has to be Kathy and Bob Strain's story.
That's the one.
Yeah. So Kathy and Bob Strain are part of they were down in Area X with the North American Wood Ape Conservancy, and there was four of them, or maybe five of them, and they were sitting around, and it's in the book, but they both talked about it on podcasts. They were sitting around an area, just a fire pit, but it's during the day. There's no fire going, and they're just talking, and they basically something comes up that the old game. That's not a game trail, but it's an old road, but it's all overgrown, and to broad daylight, multiple witnesses. Kathy's she's a anthropologist, archaeologist. Bob's a former paramedic, so you're talking about some people and then we'll get into the other folks. And they have two Bigfoot that approach them. Broad daylight. They assumed one was like what they'll call a teenager and adolescent, and multi-person sighting. Kathy jumps up and chases them, and we get the descriptions of how fast they were, but it's just.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you say that they were all seeing something?
Yeah.
And these are credible people that are.
That's definitely that was a great interview that we had with Kathy, because, she's also saying, even she remembers going to like, I don't know if it was like a counseling or a therapy session to come, I don't know if it was because of that she went, but she was at a therapist.
I think it was a friend of theirs that they met or something. And they told, they weren't going to therapy.
Sorry. I couldn't remember. Kathy's gonna be like, girl, what are you saying about me on TV?
Put their business on Front Street.
But they were talking to a friend.
They were talking to a friend who was also a psychologist or whatever. Somebody who knew
and they were close to
that
them.
They wouldn't be lying to.
Right.
Somebody that they wouldn't lie to. Like it was something like that. And I think it was a friend of theirs. It's a psychiatrist. And, their friend is just blown because they know that their friend is not lying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But she's just like a normal person, like that we have a creature that lives in North America, undiscovered.
Yeah. That's
very much like us.
That a lot of people see every year.
And it's just thousands.
And just think about the people that like haven't even reported it or just like not into this, and they're just like, I don't want to become that guy, so I'm just gonna leave that to what it was that I saw. Maybe they come back and tell their friend or something, or they don't even. Usually, the people that live in that like kind of area that we're talking, like whatever, they just will see them and they have no outlet to tell anybody about it. They're like, well, I guess I saw that. That was weird today.
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, we were camping last month, and we did like this really remote camping experience that was pretty cool, but it was also a little bougie because we still had like running water and electricity and what else did we have?
That's it. Yeah.
And a porta potty.
Yeah.
That was not luxury, but it was an attempt at luxury. But anyway, it was better than
better than the alternative. Yeah.
Thank you. So it was like just wild in there, just wild. And we were like the only ones there for a couple of nights because there was not a lot of locations that you could have rented from this this landowner. So the last night we're literally walking back from the porta potty because it was not close to the camp, which you didn't want it to be close to the camp. You know what I mean? But so we're walking back and we see this flash come down from the mountain. And then we just feel this low grumbling vibration on the ground. And I'm like, baby, what the F was that? What was that? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm so tired. And I just, after being in the woods, so maybe it's exactly like what you were just saying, that these people are in the wilderness, they're in the wild more, and these little bumps and, flash of seeing a Bigfoot might just be like, like it's not a big deal.
I think we heard.
By the way, that was a thunderstorm. Like 2 hours later.
Yeah, it was thunder and lightning.
Okay, that was. It wasn't a UFO. We're not going to get abducted.
So go ahead, David. Yours.
What was I going to say? Crap, I lost it. People that live in the woods. I lost it.
People that live in the woods. Yeah. Well, you know what? I forgot too. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I will say that it's just, we hear these stories, we interview people. I interviewed, I'm working on book 2. I'm interviewing more people. I remember talking to Dr. Russ Jones, and he went into the subject the same way. He thought they were a bunch of, and he had some potential weird things that happened before he got into the subject. But he joined the BFRO, and his first person he interviewed was a West Virginia state trooper and his wife, who again had a broad day. They were out hunting for what do they hunt for?
Mushrooms.
Yeah, it might have been mushrooms. But
with the gun. Yeah. You were like hunting.
Well, they were.
Here's what's really weird: that mushrooms popped in my head.
Right.
We've been together too long. Officially.
Yeah, I know.
How do I get mushrooms when you say hunting?
I know.
And that's what it was.
But you also talked to Russ. So.
All right, I'm scared.
So, but he interviewed his very first BFRO. He joined the BFRO. His very first person he interviewed was a state trooper, and him and his wife were out. They were pre-hunting. They were getting ready. They were scouting areas, and they were on an ATV.
Sorry. Pre-hunting?
Well, they were getting ready to hunt.
Is that like pre-gaming?
Yeah,
that sounds
I guess.
Like
Oh my gosh.
Probably.
So They were
tree hunting. I'm sorry.
We could tell it's Friday. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, get it together, girl.
Yeah. So his first interview was a state trooper, and they had a broad daylight sighting. So they saw this thing. She was on the back of it. She didn't see it at first until he pointed it out, and she screams. He sees it. They take off. He interviews him later. The guy's chain smoking. He's like this. He's got another state trooper with him. He's got his gun drawn when they go back to the site. They move. I mean, it was life-changing for the wife and him. And what did they see? What was something that changed their life forever?
Yeah.
And I mean, what do you say to that? I mean, yeah.
Do you think that like the new generation of like kind of the recording all the time generation will be like the linchpin that will release this to be like a real thing? I mean, like to be like a documented thing a little more, because I feel like we're kind of growing in this dimension, or in this like world of like, I'm always recording something, or somebody always has a GoPro on, or in some sort of capacity if they're like out kind of documenting stuff. And I just feel like there's this level of like, at some point we're going to get like the next Patterson Gimlin film that's like in 4K and not shaky, that's like stabilized itself. But I guess in the same vein, we're dealing with AI that's also, cutting into
they can easily manipulate it now. They'll just be like, it's fake.
I think that and I tell this story a lot. There was a documentary that I once watched. It was like a serious documentary, like something on the Discovery Channel that was like about the planet and some of the most extreme places in the planet to live. And there was this part about the snow leopard. And I mean, we saw the footage of the snow leopard, blah, blah, blah. But when you looked at the behind the scenes footage of how long it took for them to get that footage of a snow leopard, because it's in an area just where there is nobody. And then there's not a lot of them. So, I mean, it's one of the most elusive animals that we know that exist on the earth. Yeah. So
it's the same color as the ground.
Exactly. It's like, where's Waldo? But it's yeah.
That's another thing with images. Sometimes you see images of the snow leopard and you can't see it.
Yeah. I mean, literally, these photographers just camping out for months
just to get that one shot. Yeah.
Video coverage. Okay, so it's really about funding. If we could just fund some, National Geographic or some, publication of some sort or whatever to just, set guys out on a mission to try to capture. And, maybe there was something to the Patterson Gimlin film that it wasn't electronic. It was a mechanical apparatus that did the film. Who knows if Bigfoots are sensitive to electronics. I mean, I'm not like going woo on you guys. I'm just saying that when you're an animal that lives in the forest and you have to depend 100% on your 5 senses, your senses are extremely sensitive. So
I mean, there's been enough cases of like people being like, my phone was full battery, and then I look back and it's got 2%. Like, what happened there? So like there is some sort of like weight to the magneticism of that whole situation, or at least it seems that way, like just based off of like the way people kind of talk about it, which I think is very fun. Like that whole aspect of it always gets me excited. I'm like, what do you mean? Like your power pack died, like, and it was fully charged. Like that part just like, it just sets my brain on fire, where all my neurons just like, what could have happened? I think that's really exciting. You know what I just
and it happens enough. Yeah, David, it happens. It happens more than, it's not just once in a while.
Yeah,
it happens enough to just make you. Yeah, so it has. You got to think about it.
I wonder if that also factors into the like, listen, this isn't for you to know. This is for you to or not like know, but this isn't for everyone. This is for you in this moment to experience, and then it's over. And you don't get to tell Barbara Walters, a big pull from like very, very Barbara Walters. But like, this isn't for you to tell the media or anything like that. This is just for this moment, and no one's supposed to believe you. Like, you're supposed to just like ingest this moment and take in what is the bigger world. I mean, it's a weird vessel to give that information to, but like, it's just I always kind of wonder if that's like the universe like kind of giving you a little bit and then pulling a little bit back from you, going like, you don't get everything that like from this experience, that like you're just gonna get what it means to you in that moment, and the like I know what I saw kind of moment, which I think is personally I think is very cool, but also very frustrating, I'm sure, for people like Cliff, who are just like, I just want to document this thing.
And, you have to realize, too, that, some of these researchers that are just, like Cliff, and, he's out there and he's searching for the truth, he's never seen one, and, but he's still, he's had his experiences, because seeing isn't everything. There's hearing, there's seeing footprints, there's all kinds of stuff. But, he knows they're around, because he knows they're there, but he's had some potential sightings, I think, but nothing that like that clear cut. Yeah, there it is thing. Yeah. I would like to know personally. Yeah, I would personally like to know, and just to know and not be like, I don't need to tell anybody. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like what you were saying before. But so I think that's kind of why we've recently been focusing on more now travel. We don't live in a Bigfoot area. We live in southern Delaware by the water. We have no mountains. If there was a tidal wave, we would be underwater in like 2 seconds. Like that's how low to the but yeah, so we don't have Bigfoots here. We're almost on an island. It's there. You have to go over a body of water to get where, or a body of water. Yeah, that's right.
There are sightings, but it's not impossible.
There's 5 sightings, and they're all really close to our house, which is funny. So
oh really?
Yeah, but anyway, so we're kind of been focusing a little bit more on just like getting out there, putting ourselves in remote situations. So last year we went to Washington State and Oregon. We rented a cabin kind of in the middle of nowhere. That was cool. Out there. Yeah, but I mean, you're looking for a needle in a haystack, and you're,
I know.
But are we looking? Because
there's like trees on top of trees back there. It's just kind of.
And you're not gonna find him. He's gonna find you
or her.
Yeah.
Or her. Yes. No, seriously. Yeah. It's not gonna happen. They aren't gonna find you.
Right.
So anyway, no, seriously, like all of the experiences that you hear from other people they were fishing, they were hiking, they were roadside in their cabin, they were driving, and something passed in front of them.
Yeah, they weren't necessarily looking.
Nobody's gonna find him. Like in my opinion, when I think just camping and enjoying what we love to do, be outside, go hiking.
Yeah.
If we happen to stumble across a Bigfoot, great. But
Yeah. But in the meantime, we can just like enjoy our coffee next to this mountain.
Exactly. And cook our filet mignon right now in this little cast iron skillet.
Right.
Yeah. Just have fun. Yeah.
I think you see exactly going Bigfoot hunting or not hunting, but like exploring, because I'd be like, I'm just vibing, and then maybe he'll get the vibe, be like, those guys seem chill over there. Like, cooler's open, bro. Get in there.
I will have to say, I was creeped out some nights there. It's
Which one?
Which night?
I mean, where?
When
we were in Ohio, or
when we were in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were in Pennsylvania last month, and we were at this remote location, and it was just nothing but him and I, and every creature out in the darkness that I could not see.
Yeah,
and it was weird. I mean, we sleep in the Jeep, and we tent. We have a tent, and then we sleep in the Jeep, which is like heaven in there. But because I have it all floofed up and all girly and pretty and fluffy and warm, and Tim loves it. You do.
It's comfortable. Yeah,
Thank
I love
you.
it. I love it.
Yep.
But on the ground.
But yeah, and it's also it's like bug free. It's just thunderstorm protectant kind of situation, like you're just safe in there, but it's still creepy, like I don't think you realize how vulnerable we are as humans out in nature. We are so far away from where we were when we were able to survive in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I always kind of tell this story of the what was it at the lodge 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. Maybe it was last year. It doesn't matter. I was drinking heavy like the night before, and I was like, at 5 a.m, I'm going for a run, and I'm gonna go to the top of that hill because we went on this like Bigfoot hike. And then I was like, I'm going up there and I'm gonna find him, like just do like a whole thing. And sure enough, 5 a.m. rolled around. I've never regretted something more, like being like, well, I had to do this. But I told myself I was gonna do it, so I did it. And I got up and I jogged up to the top of this ridge. And while I was doing it, I started thinking, oh, like I'm not scared of running into anything like Bigfooty. People hunt like all the time. So I started making very like human noises. I was like, oh yeah.
Sorry. And don't grunt or make any strange animal sounds, you're gonna get shot.
Well, Brian and David, you bring up such an excellent point, because a lot of we talked to a lot of folks and they say, oh, that's just a guy in a ghillie suit, or someone in a gorilla suit, or someone, and then these sightings sometimes are in places that hunters frequent. So it could be anywhere, Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio. And who would be stupid enough
to do that?
To run around in the woods when there's hunters out there? And it's one more of those levels of credibility to these sightings that, who would do that?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why they wear the bright orange. It's like, don't shoot me. This is an unnatural color. But yeah. I think my favorite stories that always come from all these are like the time slip stories, because I have heard a couple of those where like they kind of coincide with some Bigfoot sightings. Or like it was 2, and all of a sudden it's 5, and I don't know what happened because I just looked down at my phone, and then I looked up, and then I looked back down, and it was just like hours later, and I'm just like, what do you mean? But I heard the story about like this girl who had like a tree sighting of like he was literally going from tree to tree, like, and it was just like there, and she's like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know, that stuff gets me like extra excited, because I'm like, that's a different thing, because that's not like a guy on the ground walking. That's like another thing. But you know what I just heard this week, and I thought it was wild. And maybe I'm just dumb and I have never known this. Did you know that ravens can like talk like parrots? I had no idea.
Can
what?
Guys
aware of that? Talk like parrots?
I thought you said talk like parents. I was like, what?
Oh,
that's
creepy. Keep shoes away.
Well, ravens are smart. Yeah.
Okay, why is my hair starting to look like the trees? Is there something going on
here? No, don't.
Like where's this part of my head right here? It's just like boom. Is that what my hair looks like?
I have a good outline of your head. Yeah, it looks.
No, and seriously, at one point I was like, is that a tree or is that my hair?
Brian, how's my hair look?
Fantastic.
Sorry. I'm being vain, but yeah, this is what happens when you mess up with your hair products.
It's something that we worry about an awful lot.
Brian, I see your little floofy floof there. We know you care about your hair. You too, David. Look at you all. You got your little wave, your little
I used to be a a frosted tips kid.
Frosted tips.
Yeah, that was
his 90s stage.
You had to put that cap on where you pulled your hairs through with the needle thing.
Yeah, I pretty much just did like I did
okay.
DIY. Yeah, I didn't do any of that, but I did let it grow out a little bit and was like, this is the look I like. In 1999, when I was just
Brian and I are like, what are they talking about?
What? Oh, this is coming from the guy who had a tail. Did you have a tail?
Yeah,
Tim had a tail.
Let's change.
I never had a tail.
I think I had one time I had my name in the back. Yeah, anyway.
He had his name shaved in the back of his head.
Yeah.
Tim, we are cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, I full on was mullet guy, like I was I never had the tail, but
I had a braided tail at one point. God, I can't believe this. I forgot about that entirely. I think like I was really into Vanilla Ice at a time, you know, like we all were, and I put the lines in my hair. And I was just like, all right, stop. I can still sing that song word for word right now.
It's gonna be your new intro song.
I think I have that on a video that I posted on Instagram.
David dancing?
No, Ice Baby. Yeah.
Oh my God. I Cool as Ice, when that movie came out, I was just like, this is what the height of coolness is. Like, drop that zero, get with a hero. Yeah. Just so absurd. Oh man. Yeah. Life was so simple back then. All you needed was pants with weird designs on them, a long tail that was braided, probably some lines in your hair, some frosted tips if you're getting fancy.
And you were going to take on the world.
Oh my gosh. Wearing sunglasses on vacation, thinking you're like the coolest 9-year-old that's ever existed. You're like, yeah, you gotta get that I'm bad.
Yeah. And now you're just like, I hope to God my kids never see those pictures.
Right. Yeah. Luckily, yeah. I know. How lucky are we to not grow up in like the world of social media? I was like, God, I was such an edgelord as a child. Like, oh, you don't understand me. It's so upsetting. I think about some of the thoughts I had like as a kid. I'm just like, oh, gosh, you sucked. Child.
We're so much more mature now. Yeah.
So much more.
What do you guys? What are your thoughts on? I mean, what do you guys think Bigfoot are?
Brian, you can go first. I want to.
All right. I'm more.
He was like, I don't know. I'm joking.
And obviously, neither one of us know. We don't want real stories, but I've always kind of came to it as, you know, it's an undiscovered North American great ape kind of a thing. You know, it's not supernatural. It's not that kind of. I've, you know, obviously nothing to back that up. But I just figured, you know, the simplest answer is usually the right answer. And I just think it's just another animal that's out there that pops up every now and again. And there's nothing that crazy about it, you know. Mm-hmm. But I'm open to any of those other things because they're super cool.
And I would say I'm in two avenues. I am I think the idea of it going underwater and then finding a little like what is it? Just like a hollowed cave underneath it, and being able to like come up and then down, or down and then up into like that little situation. Would
like
be
a like beaver?
Yeah, I guess like a beaver. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that situation, if I'm going practical, if I'm having a little more fun with it, I would say they exist in a dimension that's in between ours and theirs. In theirs. Like, so it's the vibration of parallel universes, because I think that the idea of the science behind that is very, like, it's obviously not proven because they can't get there, but they're pretty positive that there is other dimensions that exist in like I've seen the science on like they're not parallel universes the way you can like think of things that are parallel. They're like the universe like folds in on itself. Like the math is like a what's that shape that's like a shell that like keeps going out, where you get
sphere,
oval.
No, it spirals out. Like basically like it all folds in on itself. And that's how you would get to it, which is the reason why it's not viewable. But like them being able to kind of like vibrate in and out of that, I think is a very fun idea of like, oh, where do you come from? I think it's the same reason why we can't see like UFOs kind of come in and out of like, they're like, it was there, then it wasn't. Maybe like pocket dimensions are like super exciting to think about. You know, I obviously have no proof here, so I'm more just like the bath of ideas is like the exciting part for me. It's just like that I get excited. I mean, the reason why I'm doing this in general is because I get excited. I was sitting next to Doug, and somebody was telling a story, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was just like, he was like, "I like you, man." You know, and I was just like, "I'm just here to react." So that stuff is exciting for me because I'm just like the idea of the unknown is so cool and exciting and just crazy, and the fact that we have no concept of like what it might be or what it could be, you know, like for real, like we don't have any real science on like where they come from. We don't have like they mainly live here. It's just kind of like the sightings just kind of happen all over the place. And we actually heard a story about one happening around here, like, I mean, really close to us. I mean, as far as they're concerned, a solidified sighting of like an attack almost. Like they were getting chased after. And I'm like, around here, like, because I didn't know anything about that. And he was like, yeah, we were in the woods, and all of a sudden, it was across the river, and then it just crossed the river and was like attacking us. And the guy's last thought, well, not the last thought, but his thought while we were running away.
He survived.
Yeah, he survived. Last thought, no more thoughts after that. He was done. But he said, at least I won't be the last one to die, because his other friends were behind him. And he was like, and he was hypnotized at the time. And so like just the idea of like how visceral it was to have that thought of, like, so this wasn't a bear. This was like, he's like, I felt the noise in my chest. It was just like, and he was like, he described it as like the Top Thrill Dragster, which is like a roller coaster around here, like going by you, which is just like this extreme noise. And, so like when you hear experiences like that, you're like, there's no reason to not. And going back to your original, I think you said this a while ago, but it was like, my wife does not believe in this stuff, and she goes, do you believe in any of those stories? And I was like, I have no reason not to. They're telling me something that's so genuine, like in the moment. They're not like, so what happened was, like, they're just like, I was there, and all of a sudden the teeth showed, and I've never been more scared. I'm just like, oh my God. Because they're all terrifying stories. Like, they're never like, oh yeah, they were like real nice. We high-fived afterwards, and it, whatever. It's always like, it was the scariest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. You never want to encounter one. Like, it's always terrifying. I mean, some of them are like, I guess they're just like throwing rocks at them and just being like, get out of here, or give me food. Actually, was it the bartender in at the first Bigfoot we went to, that she was just like, they were on like a migration. They were, yeah, what's up, kid? They were on like a migration path, and she would feed them. She would put food on a stump, and then when that lady had died, the new owners came in, and they would throw rocks at their house because they were just like, "Where's our food at?"
Wow!
You guys always used to feed us, and them not knowing that those people died and didn't live there anymore. Yeah,
yeah. Which was actually my favorite part about that. Our first trip was like, we went up to the bar, sat down. We were just like, let's just.
This was at the hotel in Cambridge. This wasn't at the lodge or anything.
Yeah. So we weren't in the safe space yet, and we're just like, we're gonna tell this lady's like, oh, what are you guys here for? And I'm just ready to get like an earful of like, oh, honey, whatever, But she was, and I was like, yeah, we're here for the Bigfoot thing. I know it's silly, and she goes, oh, honey, let me tell you something. And then she just starts going into her stories, and she had like a bunch just from like patrons and stuff like that. And
just being a bartender, everybody told her stories, so she told us a whole lot of stuff even before we got over there.
Well, all it takes is one story to prove, all it takes is one.
Like Dave and I, when we started getting into this, we're not expecting there to be a ton of this stuff like around, we're in Ohio. And I ran into Bobo probably 10, 12 years ago, like right in the height of finding Bigfoot. Ran into him at a bar in Cleveland, and we're talking to him, and I'm like, yeah, someday I'm going to go out, Pacific Northwest and go squatch it and do this. And he's like, you should just do it around here. There's so much in Ohio that people don't even realize. And that's when it really started like opening up, my eyes to this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, like really? I mean, we have areas around here that are heavily wooded and stuff, but you don't think it happens like right, around where you live, and and now, we're much more educated on the fact that there are tons of sightings in Ohio.
Yeah, there's also like a big, huge swab of Ohio in general that's just like uninhabited that we forget about. Like every time I drive down to like North Carolina, I'm like, oh yeah, this place is huge. Like there's just lots of huge hills that are just trees, and it's just wall to wall trees. So
that's how we decided our last camping trip, because we always drive, to Ohio, and we pass through this area that's you kind of go into PA and then into Maryland, but you're basically like near Cumberland, Maryland, but you're in Pennsylvania. But we're driving, we always drive past this area, trees and mountains and trees and no exits and no stores and trees, and it's going on and on. So I'm like, baby, let's go camping there. So I found this place on Hip app or Hip Camp, and people who own hundreds and hundreds of acres, and they rent out a few little remote campsites.
So it's Hip Camp?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
So you're not in a state park, and you can find, it's really cool.
I'm gonna save that for later. That sounds fun because I've been trying to figure out. I was like, I'm not a big camper. I really don't like camping. I'm not gonna lie. My wife loves it, and I think the reason why I don't like it is because my wife makes like it like a whole experience, and I'm just like, I used to just like back my old station wagon up, pull my speakers out, we'd drink for the night, I'd sleep in my car, and we'd leave. And then when I first started dating my wife, she was like, we brought like an entire house with us. And this yawning go, I'm like, why is there 4 tubs? What are we doing here? Are we staying for 2 days? And she's just like, yeah. And it's just like, so
yeah, but if you, oh no, I am all about bougie camping. I have got it hooked up. It makes sense. It's not even bougie. It's just like, the first time we went camping, it was a mess because I spent half of my time trying to find something. So this next time I'm like, I got this. I got drawers. I know where everything is. Yeah. Wasn't it awesome? It was awesome. So we actually got to like enjoy more of the outdoor experience instead of looking for a freaking spatula. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So there's a science to it. There's a science to it, David.
That is actually the one reason why I don't like it as much, is I'm not a very good organizer. So I get yelled at the whole time. There's like, where's the spatula? And I'm like, I don't know. I put it somewhere else.
Like, who's more organized? You or me?
You're pretty organized. Okay. Yeah, you're pretty organized. You're a good planner.
It's like great planner. Right answer.
Nice, Tim. Well played.
He's my husband. I didn't say that. I said, don't hold me back, baby. Don't hold me back.
Dana, do you paint? Are you?
Don't try to control me. Just let me fly.
Dana, do you paint? I think I saw you like.
I do. I wish I painted more than I do, but you know, I have a big garden. That's cool. I have a little job.
You paint well though. You're
I'm sorry.
No, you're a great painter.
Thank you. I do like to paint. I like to paint. I like to create. You know, I feel artistic with my cooking as well.
Photography,
Photography.
You do good. You're great.
Just because I can use portrait mode doesn't mean I'm a photographer.
You do good. You do well.
But I love you, baby. You're getting a lot of booty points right now. I'm telling you. Good job.
Oh, Tim's
you almost got your card complete.
You know the difference between a photographer and a regular person who takes a photo is you just bend your back a little bit. Photographer, regular photo. Photographer.
oh, I didn't know if there was actually a science to bending back. But that's cute. Yeah. Okay, no, you were being funny,
a little bit
David.
Of just framing.
You gotta look. Let me take the above angle. That's the best angle when you're taking pictures of people. Take it from above. Everybody always looks. You get their face. Their body looks thin and slim.
Let me tell you a little trick, actually. It's called fresh faces. Okay, I do this all the time. It's my favorite. Okay, so you have everybody look down, and then you go fresh faces, and they pop up, and then you take the photo.
Good idea.
You do it.
That's almost like what we did in the 70s. The women, we would get there and they'd be like, freeze.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was Charlie's Angels flip right there.
Yeah. You got to do the hair flip.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
You got to do the hair flip.
Yeah.
I can do that because my hair is wild anyway.
I love to do it. I think it's fun. Well, first off, I think it's fun because everybody's like, what are we doing? I was like, just what you down and then up. And then sometimes you get somebody who's just still down and they're taking the photo. But like, you just pop your face up, then you're like, boom, fresh faces.
I do love that idea, though. That's a great idea.
That's right. Next time. 1, 2, 3.
I think we should do it with the hair too, though. That would be fun.
Yes, I actually, if you got the hair to do it, my hair stays the same no matter what.
No matter
Maybe
what.
Back when I had my skater cut, when I had like big froey hair, but not anymore. But that's the key to everybody being awake in that picture. But yeah, that's awesome. I saw a picture of you painting on Facebook, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that she painted. So yeah. So do you do that when you go camping? Just kind of like.
I just happened to bring that. So Tim got that for me as a gift a couple years ago to travel, because you know that what a great time to paint when you don't have anything else to do, like laundry or clean the bathroom, or you know what I'm saying. Like you just,
especially if you're out there, that's just beautiful. You just you could paint the scenery, what you're looking.
You know what? If you ever Bob Ross, I love Bob Ross. and I know it sounds goofy and stuff like that, but if you watch him, he's like, just let the brush do the work. I mean, it's like just
happy trees, you know?
Just whatever is going to fall on the canvas is going to be beautiful because it came from you. You know what I mean? And so you have to go into that with that kind of confidence. Don't go in like I'm going to mess up. Just let the brush do the work. So that's kind of how I go into it. And if I was less confident about it, it wouldn't look as good. So basically, it's my confidence that makes it look good. It's not really good. It's just no, but you know what I'm saying? Doesn't it make sense? You just do it. That's me. Some people might not like it, but that's me. So, but yeah, Tim got me a gift.
I always tell kids, like, because I go into schools and stuff, and I'll like present, like, I'll teach kids about art and stuff because I do children's books, and they'll be like, I'll always say, just do art for yourself. And if somebody else likes it, that's fine. But in the end, like, it's just for you. And then you don't get kind of like linchpin to like, oh, hey, could you do another landscape? And I was like, I don't really like doing landscapes, you know, like, but like you did one landscape, so just always do it for yourself, and then you'll always have a good time doing it. So it's a good time. But I'm gonna circle back. I just want to ask you guys the question because you asked us what you think happens. So I would love to hear what you guys think happens when you see them and they go away. Like, what are we talking here?
I don't know if I've actually heard any witness stories like that I've spoken to people one-on-one with, or even in an interview so I haven't personally heard that story. Do I remember witnessing a story on TV? I don't even think I have. Have you?
Yeah, I mean,
I just mean, like,
I can't even recall one story.
Belief,
That you mean like that Bigfoot, a Bigfoot totally disappeared?
Well, no, like when they're like, "Hey, I saw it," and then it was just gone. Like it just went into the woods. It just, it was just
because it just ran away.
You think it just runs away?
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I mean, it's wildlife is pretty fast. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw on Facebook, Tim took a picture of a skunk in our backyard right on our patio from like 6 feet away, and it was blurry. Like, baby. What's up? Because it was dark and there wasn't so even like an iPhone camera with all the bougie stuff on there can't get a skunk 10 feet away.
I will say, Brian and David, it is interesting because you hear stories of, and we've talked to people. This is what we do here, where they're at camp and something sneaks up on them in camp. They don't hear it sneaking up on them, and then when they see it and it takes off, it's loud. So that is interesting. How can they, big, supposedly huge animal could, and where it's dry leaf stuff, it could be in the October when it's crunchy and things, and they don't hear it sneaking up, and then it takes off and they hear. It's crazy. It's like
our vision sucks in the dark. We went on a Bigfoot expedition and we did a lot of night ops, and of course I was chosen both times to be the person that stands there in the middle of the woods as bait while everybody goes away. But at least they left me with another person, and the first person was great. We were chatty, blah blah blah. The other dude was like, shh. I'm like, you don't want to talk, we're here for an hour. I don't want to just sit here in silence. The other girl talked to me, come on. So anyway, I think, and then there were times where it was discouraged to have any light on at all while we were walking in the pitch dark. I mean, there's so many noises and rustles, and we are so helpless. And you don't think that the Bigfoots know that? They know we can't see. So they could probably rustle in and just get real, like a little stump or something. And, our vision won't pick that up, The same thing for birds. Like, we had a wild bird in our house. We got it into the laundry room. And I said, just get me in there with like a little dim light because birds can't see in the dark. And I just went, oof, and grabbed the bird. Really?
I just learned that today.
Because birds are hard. That's why you never see them flying around at night, because they will crash into stuff. They can't see at all in the dark. So so we're like them in the woods at nighttime to everything else out there. That's like, that's their moment. That's their time. That's their daytime.
Okay.
So yeah,
That
so
makes
if
sense.
you see a Bigfoot and then it vanishes, it's not necessarily that it poof vanished into nothing. It's that it can easily camouflage, get away. It's quick. That's my thought process on it.
I just like, you know, what you said, Tim, like I'm just so surprised that something that's so big can just like creep up on you in like dried leaves. Like I can't even walk through my front yard like swiftly and tenderly by any means without it being like, I mean, I'm also very, you know, galloping, but like, I don't know. I think that stuff is just wild that like they're able to kind of do, unless they're just doing like the long game of walking this just the slowest they can, you know. But
they know we're there. They know we're there, and then and I know that there are rare occurrences where there's, you know, people who surprise them that they didn't know that. You know, that we were there. But I think most of the time they know we're around. They can smell us. They can hear us. We're fumbly and awkward. And, you know, we don't like.
Yeah, every other animal in the woods knows we're around too. Why wouldn't they?
Right.
You know?
The squirrels are barking and, you know, everybody knows we're there. You know, look out. Here come the killers of the world.
Right.
You know, like the people are murdering our environment.
So Tim, you're, strip mall. Really. So you're working on the edition 2 of the book. Any big catches coming, or any interviews you're looking to get for the book, or you know what's kind of on the horizon for that?
Yeah. So thank you for asking. I have it lined up. I've got all the interviews. There's a few. I'm doing one after this. I've got a good chunk of them done. I'm doing a lot of editing now. There's just so many people. I mean, I could probably do 6 books. It's just hard to pick. You know, when I did the first book, I don't say I was grasping for straws, but luckily we already had relationships with people, and then Doug introduced me to a bunch of people too, and then I had this big giant list. So then I said, okay, now let's, you know, so now for this one, you know, we've got a lot of fun. You know, it's going to be the same type of format, but I might still have a few more people I want to put in. But yeah, I've already got chapters done, you know, editing, and for those who don't know, what, you know, I it's an interview style. I try to make a little unique per individual, and I'm going to try to keep the same format. So you get to learn about the people who are actually, you know, are shaping this subject or have in the past. So it could be historically, it could be currently. Again, I'll go back to, you know, Peter Byrne. You know, I was fortunate enough to have him participate in the first book, and he's not around anymore to do that. So, but there's some fun. Yeah, I mean, we've got some fun people in the book right now. So
great. We look forward to it.
Heck yeah, man. That's a goal. What was I gonna ask you? Do you guys have a favorite cryptid, or is it Bigfoot, or do you have a different one?
I mean, I only have one cryptid. That's Bigfoot.
Okay.
I mean, the other ones are kind of like, there's not a lot there, but I totally don't like judge or deter or whatever. I just, you know, it's my thing, and that it is what it is. So
obviously now it's Bigfoot. Sasquatch, Bigfoot, the other names. I mean, growing up it was probably Loch Ness Monster for me. I loved Creature from Black Lagoon, but that wasn't really cryptid. That was, you know, but yeah, probably it was Loch Ness Monster and then Bigfoot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the idea of dinosaurs still being around was always like so exciting to me as a kid. And like, they're still alive. And then like maybe getting into heated conversations about it on like the playground, be like, you don't understand. In Loch Ness, there's a thing, and I don't know. I guess the older I get, the less like true that feels for me personally. I'm like, I feel like it's just like creepy there in general, but like probably not a thing. But it'd be really cool if there was just a Like, I think the only thing we have as far as like real footage of that is that one picture. Am I wrong?
There's that one famous picture. Yeah, there's
yeah, but you know, it's here's my thing. Maybe it was real then, and it was like the last plesiosaur or whatever, and it just happened to linger, and now it's gone. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it could happen.
That's sad, but you know, who knows? we might go to Scotland one day. We could do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
justice for Loch Ness. He's the coolest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're loving just discovering what's going on here in North America. But we are going to be doing a speaking event at the Ocean City Comic Con. Ocean City.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Ocean City, Maryland.
Ocean City, Maryland. Yeah. I know. Don't worry. I'm not going to be this goofy. This is like the real Dana. You'll get like the serious. You know what I'm saying? Like the presidential Dana.
Yeah, that's coming up next month.
I promise I'll be presidential. I won't be crazy. So we're gonna
that's coming up in a month or so.
Yeah, and then they did ask me to be the MC at the New Jersey Bigfoot conference.
Oh, congratulations!
So we're going to Jersey. Hello, right?
That's it. Yeah,
that's cool as heck.
Yeah, the Cryptid and Paranormal Conference.
The Cryptid and Paranormal Conference.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be the MC.
Yeah. And I think
that'll be fun.
I don't want to say.
Dr. Jeff's going to be there.
So I think he's going to be speaking.
Mm-hmm. And our friend.
Oh, I don't know if
you don't know. Okay, well then don't say his name.
Yeah, I'm not sure if
we got people we can't mention because we're we're like real important.
Right.
We're real big people.
You guys are deep on the inside.
I will do one more shout out for the book. Mm-hmm. So a friend of ours, Henry Franzoni, passed away recently, and we just got to know Henry recently for the last couple of years, and it's just such and he's in the book. So I was again fortunate to have in the second book, the one upcoming book, and Henry, just such a cool. Everyone loved Henry. Henry may not buy into everything he says, but he shaped the subject in a way that if it wasn't for him, we might not have a BFRO.net.
Mm-hmm.
He created that first internet platform. And we could have, but you just don't know. And it's just I just wanted to give a shout out to Henry because we did lose a friend. And
we love you, Henry, and we know that right now you have all the answers that you ever wanted to have.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and he told us interesting things. We were like,
so who knows? Henry's up there like, I told you.
Yeah, I was right. Yeah,
he's just like hanging out with him right now, or he's just got all the answers.
I told you. I know.
Yeah.
Good for you, Henry.
Dave and I were talking about branching out a little bit more to on the convention scene. We do the well, are you guys going to be there on 2025?
Maybe not. Probably not. We have a wedding.
Mark, the organizer, his name's Mark DeWorth. He's probably still crying in the corner.
Does he know?
He knows. I told him.
Okay, good. So I'm like, let's not announce this.
So if we're not there,
he's going to be hit with this.
No, so Mark, if you watch this, I know you're still crying. We love you.
He'll be fine.
It'll be sad for all of us.
Well, it's really the party that I throw, that big VIP party that I throw, that you guys will be invited to next time, obviously, but not this year because I'm not there. But no, like that's a fierce party. Everybody kind of chips in and does this really cool thing. But we got family obligations. We're very excited about our niece getting married. So we're we gotta go. We can't like not go to your wedding because of a Bigfoot conference. You know what I'm saying? That's just
so weird.
I think we tried that one time. That didn't go very well. That was during COVID. Their wedding then got postponed, and so did Ohio Bigfoot conference. But we almost but
so it doesn't look like we're gonna be there, unfortunately.
No. But we will be at the New Jersey Bigfoot conference.
And we're not sure yet.
And we can't go to the one in Washington State either.
We were going to go to Squatch Fest, and we don't think we'll be able to make that again either, or not again, but this year because
our first grandchild's arriving. Another thing you can't miss.
You definitely can't miss that. Yeah.
What?
Sorry, guys. Just breathe. Hold on, Dr. Jeff speaking. I gotta
go. You're like, I think I heard a tree knock, so
sorry, gotta go.
Hang in there.
You'll be good.
Just wait till we get back. You'll be fine.
You'll never get forgiven for that, by the way.
Yeah, so it's if it was like even a work conference, you can't. Yeah, you gotta go. So,
but we haven't made commitments to any of the other ones, but we'll be out there.
But we're gonna be out there in the woods, tent and cheap. So that's the important thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're like like Brian said, we're just trying to venture out, maybe to go to the Mothman Festival. We go to Monster Fest. That's in where's it at? Like Akron area,
Canton,
in Ohio, and we're just so and they were like, oh, go to the Mothman one, and just like experiencing these things and stuff, because the Bigfoot conference was our first like kind of outing, and just to kind of expand out and be like, and plus we just met so many cool people, like like you guys, and we met Doug, and then all the people, April, and everybody that we've met from there, and it's just been a cool like growing experience of like being with weirdos in like a fun way, and just like talking about weird stuff, and then having like the permission to talk about it in like a way where you're like you're yes-anding each other, and somebody tells you the craziest thing you've ever heard in your entire life, and you're like, probably happened. That's crazy. What are you talking about? You saw a white Mothman? Like that looked like an angel man? Like, what are you talking about?
That's cool.
You're just like, you're there to believe it. Yeah. And then every once in a while you run into the guy who's like, Hillary Clinton's a hologram, and you're like, okay, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So
sorry, Rolo jumped up. Rolo's, I'm sorry. That's how come it was like, it was like not. We don't have earthquakes in Delaware, but that was just our fat cat jumping on the table.
It's okay. You did say he was a Husker, so you're good to go.
He's
all right. Well, I appreciate you guys giving us your time. I really appreciate it. I know it took a little bit of time for us to like get together. I know.
Sorry.
So it's like
next time I see you, I'll tell you about all the drama of that day. That's why
oh my God.
Next time I see you.
You don't know this about me. I love drama.
I don't love being in it. I love hearing it. Yeah, totally. I'm just like you. Yep.
That's what I mean.
I just want to hear it. Tell me your drama.
Yeah, it's my favorite. So thank you so much for coming on. This has been fantastic.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Bigfoot Influencers Podcast. That's their podcast on the Untold Network. You probably already subscribed to it, so you're already in the groove of it. Bigfoot Influencers book, and apparently the second volume coming soonish. And then I know how books work. It takes forever.
Catch them out on the scene.
We appreciate you guys having us. This is fun.
Thanks so much, guys. It was good having another conversation with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. It's only the silliest. Okay, so Monster Soup Podcast. If anyone wants to send a story to us, and we'll have you on and we'll talk about it and get weird. The kitchen is closed. We are no longer serving spookies for tonight. We appreciate all of you guys out there, and take it easy. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.